Good morning, Todd Dunn here on March 26th, 2018. Today I'm going to be making a blood smear and doing a little examination of it to give me some data before I call the hospital to talk about my treatment for chronic lymphocytic leukemia. So I'm going to walk you through the procedure. These are the basic chemicals you need. That's a jar of Wright's blood stain. It's a mixture of eosine red and methylene blue dissolved in anhydrous methanol. And in the yellow bottle is my local source for anhydrous methanol. That's a gas treatment that happens to be anhydrous methanol. And we're going to use those to fix the blood cells to the slide with the anhydrous methanol, and then stain the cells so that we can identify what kind of cells they are with the Wright's blood stain. Now let's make the actual smear. I have here two clean microscope slides. This is the slide I'm going to make the smear on. This is the slide I'm going to use to spread the blood. We'll call it the spreader. The first thing I need to do is get some blood. So I've got one of these. This is a finger, and I'm going to pierce it. I've cleaned my fingertip with methanol and cleaned this X-Acto knife with some methanol. This is the worst part of this. I'm going to poke myself and get a little blood. Okay, I think I've done an adequate job. Let's see if it's going to bleed. Yes. See a little blood coming up. And I'm just going to squeeze out a reasonable sized droplet here. This shouldn't take too long. Now I'm just going to put this drop of blood on the slide, about the middle of the slide. There. Now this spreader has been cleaned, and the technique is pretty straightforward. I'm just going to slide this top slide toward the blood until it touches the drop of blood, holding it down, not pushing too hard because I don't want to break the slide. And once it touches, the blood will spread out along the edge of the slide. And once that's happened, I'll just smear it across like that. That's that. Not perfect, but it will work. Now, we just let this dry, and then we'll fix the cells with methanol and stain them in Wright's blood stain. Once the slide is dry, the technique is pretty simple. I'm going to fix the slide by putting it in some methanol in the staining jar, and we'll just leave it in there for about a minute. The fixation process simply sticks the cells to the slide so that they won't come off. If you were to use water or something like that, you just rinse the blood off the slide. Okay, now that it's been in there for about a minute, we'll take it out and we'll put it in the actual stain solution right here. So I'll take it out. I'm just going to dab the bottom. I'm going to put it in there. Get it in the slots. There we go. And leave it in there for another minute or so. After the slide has been in the blood stain for about a minute, I'll take it in and rinse it. Just put it in running water to rinse off excess stain, and that's why one of the reasons we fix it, so that it won't simply rinse the sample off the slide. And dry it, and we'll be ready to look at it under the microscope. Alright, I've got the blood smear on the microscope now. It's about an hour later, and right now I've got it set up at 100 magnification, and this is a part of the smear that's called the monolayer, where I basically have a single layer of cells. And what I'm going to do is work my way around this slide and just take pictures of it, and we will look for white blood cells. I'm going to take pictures until I have found approximately 200 white blood cells. This particular field of view has 0 white blood cells. Those are all red blood cells. So I will go over here and take a picture. That's all there is to it. Go back to video. And we will move the field of view a little. And make sure it's focused up. Yeah, and we can see at least one white blood cell down here. That's a smudge cell. And we'll just keep going. Once I finish taking a bunch of pictures, I will go back and count these. This is a fairly time-consuming process. I don't want to get too much out of the monolayer. This is a little low density. So we'll move back up into an area where there's a little higher density. Here's a neutrophil. Here is a lymphocyte. But you can see there are not very many white cells in the field of view here. When I started just before treatment, I had 41 white cells on average in each field of view. And by this method, I can get an estimate of the average number of white cells per field of view simply by going around and counting quite a few fields of view. And I won't bore you with this process, it takes quite a while. And they're very low density. In this particular field of view, I see one lymphocyte right here. So it's very, very few white cells. Anyway, I'm going to finish this and I'll come back and explain how it works. Okay, I've just finished counting 76 fields of view that I took pictures of with my microscope camera. And I used the results to calculate a white cell differential in which I divided the number of lymphocytes that I counted by the total number of white cells, the number of neutrophils by the total number of white cells, and the number of monocytes and eosinophils and basophils by the total number of white cells. And then I used the average number of white cells per field of view referenced back to where they were just before I started treatment, the initial blood test done at the hospital, to get my total white count. When I do that, I come up with a white count of 3.7 today, a lymphocyte count of 2.4, my neutrophil count's a little low at 1.1, and I've got a monocyte count of 0.2. I did not see any eosinophils or basophils. So according to this, I actually have a little bit of a low white count, but that's to be expected because in addition to the infusions with Obinutuzumab, I also had a dose of the chemotherapy drug Chlorambucil. So we'll see if things rebound, but right now my white count is in the low normal range. My lymphocyte count, by my estimation, is in pretty much a little bit below the mid-range for normal. And if anybody looked at my current blood counts, they would say, you don't have leukemia. There would be no suspicion of it. So what can I say? This treatment so far, 4 days after I started, has been super effective. And I would say that as of right now, unless I rebound, that I have had a complete response. I just talked to the hospital, and they are probably going to schedule a CBC before my next treatment on Thursday of this week. Anyway, that's where I am today on Monday, March 26th, after starting treatment on Thursday, March 22nd. And we'll see what happens over the next couple of days. Thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And please subscribe to my channel. I do want to make a shout out to the 202 people that have subscribed to my channel. I hit 200. Wow, that's great. Now I just need another 800 because my next milestone is 1,000. Thanks again for watching.